We back at it with another video, you know what I mean? We gotta follow through with the Mars sign series, right? We got Mars, basically, the planet Mars coming through the sign of Scorpio, right? Now, Mars coming through Scorpio. What I want to state first off is that when we come through and we have the sign of Mars coming through the sign of Scorpio, this is actually home here. So Mars is comfortable here as it's home here, just like it's home also in the sign of Aries, basically. So this is a good thing, basically. Now, Mars is known as the god of war, and in your chart, there's a couple different things that Mars will basically show up as. Now, Mars is going to show how you act, right? But I always tell you guys, in your chart, there's multiple areas that you need to compare, basically, to see different sides of your personality, basically, and who you are in these different areas. So you want to compare the Mars sign coming through Scorpio and what this means, which we're going to discuss, with your Ascendant sign. Reason being is because each of the signs correspond with a house. The Ascendant is known as the first house cusp. Since it's the first house and it deals with Aries energy, Aries is how we initiate things, it's how we act, basically. They also say that the Ascendant sign is the mask that we wear. So when we think of a mask, it deals with how we act, and the key word, and or it deals with acting, and the key word inside of acting is act. So compare again your Mars and Scorpio with the sign that's on the Ascendant, basically, and any planets that are in that first house, basically, to tell you a little bit more, right? It's also going to tell us how you, basically your desires and where, and kind of like how you direct your energy. Now, Mars also shows us how we deal with anger and aggression, and kind of like our fighting style, basically how you go to war. Mars is the planet that deals with sexuality, so it's going to show you sexual expression, which you also want to compare with the 8th house, which is kind of the house of Scorpio anyway, right? Mars in a woman's chart, right, it's going to show the ideal boyfriend archetype, right? And Mars can also just show us where you have conflict, since it's the god of war, right? And we're going to discuss this by sign, and also the house could kind of tell us more, basically. But let's go back up here in terms of how you act, right? When we think of Mars, right, coming through Scorpio, Scorpio is the sign of secrecy, privacy, so you can kind of act in this manner, basically. Scorpio is also a sign that deals with transformation, evolution, right? So this is the actions that you take. You're going to be someone who's evolving, basically, going through deep transformation when you have your Mars coming through the sign of Scorpio, right? Now, what I do want to state is that, again, compare that with your Ascendant sign, right? What's going on there in that first house. Desires, right? It can show, like I stated, desires for evolving, basically. You could be someone who's also into like deep mysteries, basically, secrets, basically. Scorpio is a sign of sex. You may desire sex, intimacy, things of that nature, as well. Look in the house that your Mars and Scorpio is in, because this is going to show the area to where you have conflict, so you act a bit more secretly in this area. But also you're desiring to evolve in that area as well too. Anger and aggression, and kind of like your fighting style. Now, Mars is comfortable here, so this is, you guys can have a good poker face, basically, and you can be very calculated when it comes to going to war. This is kind of opposite of the other energy that Mars is home to, which is Aries. Aries is that warrior energy. It's very much about fighting, being direct, but it can be impulsive. You guys are more calculated, basically, in terms of Mars coming into Scorpio and it being home, basically. You can be more strategic, basically, and plot things out, plan things out in terms of how you got to go to war, how you got to act. You know what I mean? You could be secretive in this area too. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I meant to say too, excuse me, for desires, you may be also into like occult matters, as Scorpio can deal with that, the underworld, things of this nature. Mysteries, like I said, things that are hidden, basically, which, because Scorpio rules over, it's ruled by Pluto, which is the god of the underworld, basically. Sexual expression, again, compare it with the 8th house, but since you have Mars, which is the planet of sexuality, right, and you have Scorpio, which is the sign of sexuality, this is a very intense energy. So I know y'all some freaks out there, you know what I mean? Y'all Mars and Scorpios, you're not fooling me. Y'all some freaks out here, nah. But yeah, this could be intense in this area, you know what I mean? So shout out to y'all, you know what I mean? Shout out to those who had that placement. Where you have conflict, I've stated by house. Again, I stated earlier you're going to move more privately or secretly in this area because you've had conflicts. But since Scorpio could kind of deal with that 8th house energy, this could kind of show maybe like sexual partners you may have some type of conflict with, or it could be intense too in this area, but you may have some conflict, or just intimate partners basically, even if it's not just sexual. As Scorpio can deal with these areas basically. Another way this may show up is that Scorpio also rules over other people's money, so there may be some conflict with shared resources or just other people's money that you're involved with. Ideal boyfriend archetype, I'm stating in every video. I'm going to leave a link in this video basically. What I want you to do, right, look into whatever house your Mars sign is in coming through Scorpio. So if it's in the 1st house, this will give you the ideal guy that you are physically drawn to will have Scorpio qualities, which I'll explain in a second. Will also they have Aries if it's in the 1st house qualities. If it's in the 2nd house, they have Taurus qualities along with Scorpio. If it's in the 3rd house, this will be Gemini qualities, right? If it's in the 4th, this is Cancer. 5th is Leo. 6th is Virgo. 7th is Libra. 8th is double down in that Scorpio energy because it's a Scorpio house. 9th, Sagittarius. 10th, Capricorn. 11th, Aquarius. 12th, Pisces, right? So you compare the house that it's in with the Zodiac sign to see qualities, keywords of the ideal boyfriend archetype, which I will leave a description to some videos I did basically, giving the keywords to the different signs. Now let's talk about Mars and Scorpio, ideal boyfriend archetype. You need a guy someone who's very transformative, someone who's about evolution, someone again who's also into these mysteries. Could be someone who's very intense, because Scorpio is a very intense sign, basically an intense energy. You need a deeper type of individual, deeper type of guy that you're drawn to. He can be mysterious too, which is that Scorpio energy. You may like some people who are controlling, right? Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, just like Mars. Pluto can deal with control, basically. Right, so that's just some things to think about. Be mindful of secretive too, boyfriends too on the negative side, or too secretive at least, you know what I mean? Because you could be that way too. So, you know, we attract what we are. And that's all I want to state, you know what I mean? I'm going to keep it very brief, you know what I mean? Hopefully this video was enlightening. I know it's kind of like jumping around, but, you know, hopefully you get something from it. All right, y'all, peace.